Hello and welcome to the Outcast. I'm your host HC, and with me is.
Wolf.
And today we are here to talk about Willow, the kinda new Disney Plus sequel show to an old Lucasfilm movie from the 90s, if I remember.
80s. But you're close. It's
80s.
like it was late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
Looking it up.
Well, so I guess I should. You know what? Let's start with this. Never saw the original.
Nope.
Okay, so.
And I
Okay,
don't know if this show made me interested in seeing the original or not. I'm kind of
I will.
curious.
I'll say this. So keep in mind
What?
that whatever you hear in this podcast, we are judging this show as a show.
Mhm.
We didn't have a chance to catch up on the original, and if we are at fault on that, then you know what, blame us, sure. But considering it's been so long, I am sure some people are gonna jump into this without seeing the movie anyway. And for the record, I don't feel like I was necessarily missing out on something. Like in terms
Yeah.
of understanding, like it's not
Oh,
like an
yeah, yeah.
MCU thing. So
Yeah,
uh,
like
I I
maybe
can.
some background stuff or information stuff. Maybe like if you're a huge fan of Willow, maybe there's some things in here that you were like, oh, it's that person, or oh, it's that thing. But I don't feel like there was anything that like, okay, I have no clue how to follow any of this. No, it felt fairly followable. It told its own self-contained story thus far, I would say.
Yeah, I would agree. So anyway, so keep in mind everything you hear. We haven't seen the original, so if something is like, "Oh, you should have seen the original," fair. But we judge this as a show on its own, and on its own, it's perfectly passable. Nothing more, nothing less.
Hmm. I
What? Yeah.
I like this show. I also hate this show.
And this is why I'm gonna say perfectly passable, because there are things in it I really like, even love, but for every one thing it does really well, there's another thing which just drives me insane.
Yeah, like
Not,
it's just like there's I enjoyed my time watching this. I don't feel like I wasted my time
yeah,
watching it. I don't feel
for
like,
the record,
God, it was so hard to get through. It just like there was just stuff that it did that it's like I
why?
hate you, but I kind of love you for the fact that I hate you. And I
I,
hate that I do like it.
yeah, well, I'll say this.
I,
For the record,
this
not a
show,
bad show by any means. I've seen
the
people rip the show to shreds
the biggest
on.
mark I think the show has against it, what the fuck are you? You have
Yeah,
no identity. I swear to God. One moment
it-
we're like dark, kind of dark, serious fantasy story. The next moment, whiplash into we're a comedy now. And then it's like, okay, I mean that was kind of funny. Whiplash. We're like, here's a catchy pop song from like the
that
mid two
listen,
thousands.
listen.
It's
The
like
music choices were
what?
so freaking baffling. Don't get me wrong. There's a
There's a
song they
cover
used
of a
to.
Metallica song and it's good, but it's like
Yeah, they're
why?
like, and don't get me wrong.
And
The
then
song is good, cover
randomly
or original. But what
here's
is
like
this
a
doing
more
in this
recent
fantasy
pop song.
show?
It's like,
Yeah.
why? What are you? Just have something. Pick a lane, damn it. It's my biggest problem with this show. And it bothers
Yeah.
me. But I also kind of love that it's that problem because I don't think the show would be as enjoyable if it didn't have that problem.
It's one of those weird moments where, like, if this were a parody, maybe I could have let it slide, but it's not a parody. And on that note, I guess it's just we've seen so many fantasy shows like this already. Like,
Mhm.
like Witcher was kind of, you've seen Witcher. You've seen, what was that show we did once,
Oh,
with the
fuck.
King Arthur one.
Yeah,
W-
that one with the girl from 13 Reasons Why. I don't remember the
yeah,
name of
whatever the
that
show.
show at all. I'll
We
go
covered
look
it
it
on the
up.
podcast. On
Oh
the
yeah, we
podcast,
covered it.
my God.
I don't remember it at all.
Cursed, maybe? Was it cursed?
Maybe I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna
Okay,
find it.
but basically, you've seen The Witcher, you've seen Cursed, you may have even seen I want to maybe Game of Thrones, maybe you've seen some sort of fantasy show in the 2010s. You most, or even the start of the 2020s. You most likely saw this, and you know how things are gonna play out. You
It was
know.
cursed.
Cursed. Okay,
It was. You were right.
Mhm. So, like you've seen stuff like this before, and for the record, there's nothing wrong with it, but it just feels like okay. Um, show A did this, so we need to do that. Show B did this, so
But
we need to do that.
I
What's
feel
the
like
reason for doing this? Because that show did it. That's kind of what it felt like a lot of the time.
I guess for some stuff, but also again, to me, it just felt like it has no identity, right? Like
Yeah,
you just
that's
say what you want, but The Witcher, right? It has an identity. Say what you
you
want about
see.
Game of
That's
Thrones, right? I know a
mhm.
lot of people have issues with that for obviously good reasons, but at least Game
Mhm.
of Thrones, the show, had an identity, right? Like you know
Yeah.
what it is, you know what you're coming to this
You
for.
see, that's why. That's what
I
I
was
mean.
watching an episode and like I feel like the first I must say two or three felt like all right. I kind of know what I'm getting into. Then we're getting into that little bit darker fantasy, but not too dark because it's Disney and we want to have a little bit of like younger audience participation coming into this. So like we're not going to show you a person's head getting cut off or anything like that. We'll show you a little bit, right? That sort of stuff. It's like all right, I'm into this,
And
and but then we get like past those first three episodes and it just feels like it doesn't know what it wants to be anymore. It's still trying to do that, but it's also trying to be more comedic, but it's also trying to be like that, hey, we're hip with the kids. Here's some pop songs. And then here's randomly like an end credit song that's, a cover of a Metallica song. And it's like, all right, we've gone back to like the 90s, 80s.
yeah,
I
but
swear,
and
I don't know if the
that
show, I feel like they didn't do it on purpose. I feel like they achieved this entirely by accident and not because they
yeah,
were trying. And that is,
that's
I feel like they're trying because we mentioned that the original Willow film came out in like the 80s, right? I feel like they're
mhm.
trying to capture that sort of B movie feel, if you know what I'm talking about. Like
Maybe,
that
but
older
but
B movie feel, but I don't think they did it on purpose. I think they captured it entirely by accident.
and that's actually something maybe now I am kind of interested in seeing the original because I'm not sure what the reception to the original even was back then. Like, was it well? I assumed it was at least loved by audiences for people to want to make a sequel, a sequel show in
Looking it
this
up,
case,
it
but.
was like a good old half. It's like some people liked it, some people didn't.
Oh, so what I've seen about this show, but okay. The point is, though, I'm not sure if because if let's say if the original was that and they tried to capture that, then fine, I can respect that. But at the same time, I would also expect a sequel to be better. And if you want to respect the original, fine, by all means. But the original was in the 80s. We are now in the 2020s. We've gone through 3 decades since then. Um, by all means, if you want to be ridiculous, but you also need to know your audience grew since then. The audience and kids that are trying to get into this now have other stuff like this to grow, to grow through, to go, to get the same thing probably better from. And listen, I just want to say this because a friend recommended it to me, and one of the reasons she really pushes for people to see this is because, like, again, kind of like a mark on the list, and I'm sad to say that because the show really did feel like they just had to mark a V on a list with this. There's a lesbian couple. So, and because of this, people already assume that Disney is gonna cancel this after this one season because there's a lesbian couple. And for the record, if Disney does that just for this, they are dipshits.
I
Okay,
highly
I
doubt they would
am.
do that. I feel like Disney knew they were going to do this, right? Like they wouldn't have let it be out if they didn't approve it. But this isn't on the
Well,
Disney Channel. This is on
the
Disney
Owl House
Plus,
would
as
like
far
to
as I'm aware.
hold.
I supposedly, quote unquote, according to the the creator of the Owl House, it wasn't because of the
Oh,
game. It was just because of other reasons. And it's like
yeah.
squinting hard at you,
Let's
Disney.
say though, Dana Terrace seems like at the time of this recording, she just confirmed that she's out of Disney. Like the Owl House is officially finished, and she, cleared that office, and she seemed really bitter towards them. So, whatever happened there, I don't know, but for the record, if you push to watch Willow just for the representation in it, don't get me wrong, it's great that it has that. It's fantastic that it has that. But I'm saying this again, representation can only go so far if I don't care about the story or the characters. And I somewhat cared for the most part, maybe. Kinda.
I liked them. They were fine characters for the most part. Like they didn't feel like they stood out too much. The issue
Like,
was I think things moved a little too fast for this show. I think the show, like, it's 8 episodes at almost an hour long in length for all of them, which you'd think, wow, it's too fast even at that length. Kinda,
honestly,
yeah.
like, I'll tell you what, it's weird. We'll get to spoilers later, but it feels like at some point when it comes to the overall arc, it felt like maybe some things moved a bit too fast. Nothing too round, like nothing that like, aha, this happened now. Okay, sure, but like individual episodes felt like they're dragging in
Listen,
some way.
we just need to get the spoilers, all right? Like, fuck me,
Okay,
this show. Just,
okay, I
overall
will say
thoughts,
that.
right? It's
So kind of,
oh, go ahead,
I'll
go ahead.
say honestly, this seems like a show that if you are big into fantasy shows of the kind, then I will say this is a gamble. If you like the original, maybe you like this just fine. If you didn't see the original, then I'll say it's a gamble. You'll either like it or you don't. So try, you know, try and watch it. Try and come to your own conclusions. It's not terrible, but it's also nothing groundbreaking, and it's nothing that I'm like, oh yeah, that's amazing.
That's fair.
Hmm. Okay, so spoilers, I assume. So if you haven't seen the show, this is your chance to close the video. Go back, go watch it. Come back later. I won't hold it against you if you don't care, but whatever. So we give the warning. Spoilers in 3, 2, 1. You still hear good. So let's start with this. For a show called Willow, Willow is surprisingly a side character.
Which that's fine. I'm okay with that because he was like the main character in the movie, and this isn't really his story as much anymore. That's fine.
I get it, but it's also then why? But
Well, at
I
that
get
point,
it.
it's just name
They're naming
recognition,
it.
right?
Yeah, I guess. So if you gave it like a subtitle, maybe I could have. But it's like
let's
Willow, so it's like
let's
I.
be honest here, though. Warwick
Mm.
Davis phoned this one in hard, man. That delivery was
Actually,
just
that's something I
complete
do want to say.
flat the entire way through, barring like there was one moment where it's like, wow, there's some emotion behind that one. And it's when his his buddy that he came on this adventure with died, and it's like, man, he has some
Yeah,
emotion there. I feel like the entirety of the amount of that, I feel
and
like
that's
that
like
emotion
halfway
came
through the
solely.
show,
Go ahead,
and
I'll wait.
that's like halfway through,
Yeah,
right? Like in
but
the,
what I'm saying though is like it's halfway through. That emotion comes from like, no, it should have been me who got to leave early, not you. Like that's his emotion there. Like Warwick,
yeah,
I'm sorry, I like Warwick Davis. He's great,
I
but he phones this one in hard.
yeah, I was about to say that when he first showed up, I'm not sure if he really did anything in the past couple of years. I honestly have no idea, but I was just so happy to see him because he's so charming. Like
Yeah, he's great.
like, listen, those movies suck for the record, but like only he can pull off a killer leprechaun in an amazing, funny way, right? Only he can do it. If you haven't seen those movies, watch at your own risk. But if you like stupid, cheesy horror films, you like them fine, I suppose. So anyway, seeing him again, I'm like, it felt like seeing an old friend again. It was like, oh, I'm glad to see you. But then the more you talk to them, you realize that friend really changed. And like you said, the deliveries were just felt. I guess the idea is that he's kind of out of it, and he doesn't. So nothing really phases him anymore because he's kind of like the wise mentor who knows everything now. But it's like, dude, you're having an epic lightning fight at the end. Sure, and you care for your new student. Show some emotion, buddy.
It's so fun. And like, it's fine, but it's so like, I'm here for you. Let's do this. We can do this. I believe in you. No, someone died. Woe is me. It's like, I love you, man, but you're phoning this one in hard. I understand you got to eat and get that paycheck. You do you, man, but so give me a
Honestly,
little something.
the thing is, I do wonder how much of that is him phoning it in, or maybe just they used the wrong takes. Maybe.
Maybe. Like, I don't want to fully blame him or anything, right? But it's definitely it feels like, it's very flat delivery, right? Like, there's very little emotion going on with this one.
And like, there's also the what's her face, the redhead chick. What's her name?
Jade? You mean Erin
Jade.
Kellyman?
No, I think. Yeah, I think it's Jade. Yeah. So
do you mean
she like?
Which one are you
Listen,
talking? Listen, one of them starts out as a blonde, or like, kind of whitish hair, and then turns into red hair, and I'm like, there's no explanation for that shit, by the way.
I mean the one who quote unquote dates the princess.
Okay, yeah, that's Jade.
Yeah, Jade. I just looked her name up. Like, listen, the actress showed that she can do fun. Like, I think it's the same actress from who play. I think it's her. I'm not sure because I know she's in the MCU. Let me see real quick who is she. Oh yeah, she was a villain in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, she was Carly.
Yeah, and like I liked her there. She was fine there, but I'm not sure if it's like, again, maybe it's like a director or an editor who doesn't know how to work with her or something. But she felt so black. You know what she has? You know what she has? Looking back, you remember your problem with Clay from Certain Reasons Why. Mm-hmm. That he just like that is basically just confused and hurt face. Confused. That's her. That's the character. She's just, she's a confused and hurt face, but more badass because she can fight with a sword.
I'll give her this. I didn't feel that as much as I did from Clay. Like, Clay was just bad.
No. Don't get me wrong. Nothing would be that, right? And also you have only 8 episodes over here with a bunch of other shit going on, while in Certain Reasons Why it's like 4 seasons of that crap. And that's the main thing you're focusing on. So not as bad, but if I have to describe it as something, this is what I have.
Fair.
Oh boy.
But
so
best is Borman. The guy who plays Borman, he's great. He's like just 100% on it all the time. I feel like he's the only. I feel like, again, this is why I come back to like that B movie feel of, you have some people here who are kind of like just, kind of phoning it in, like, we're here for the paycheck, we don't really care. And then you have other people who are here like, man, we're in this shit. We are this character. Borman, like the guy who plays Borman, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it. It's just Amar. That's all I'm gonna say. The rest of his name I'm not gonna try because I'm gonna butcher that shit. Mm-hmm. He feels like, he's a character. He feels like he's playing up someone. Like, he's fun. He's funny. A lot of the comedy tends to come from him. Yeah, he tends to be the joke character, but he's enjoyable because he also has a little bit of like those heroic moments, quote unquote, right? There's a character
like he's the
there.
only
It's
one.
Like, this I like. This is good.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing because we can say the comedy is the comic relief, but he's also there's a but there. Everyone else is like who is Jade? Oh, she's the soon to be knight who can who kind of feel like she needs to carry the world on her shoulder. You have Kit, who is the rebellious princess. Never saw this before. We have what's her face? Aaron? No, Eric? I think it's Eric.
Yeah, her twin brother Eric. Yeah,
Yeah, so we have Eric, like what he's the womanizer prince with the charm. And you have Willow, wise old guy, I guess, and Alora is also the one. I think her full name is Alora, right? I think it's
yeah,
Alora.
Alora Dannon. Yeah, that's her full
Yeah.
name.
So basically, so Elora has more character because arguably she's the main one, and then you have Flash Thompson from the Spider-Man from the MCU Spider-Man trilogy. For some reason, he's in this show playing a hiccup, kinda, not really, and. I guess I liked him because it was funny seeing him play this type of character.
Like I thought he played the character. Like he's the one thing like that stayed pretty consistent. That you're there. I don't have an issue with you. You've not really stood out too much yet, but
Yeah,
you're
but that's the
fine.
thing. Yeah, but again, it just felt he was kind of there to fill a character quota, like, oh, he's the princess's, betrothed, but she doesn't like him. So, and his father hates him, so he's going on this journey to prove himself and to show his worth. And the only really interesting thing they do with him is at the end when the bad guy wants him, like, hey, I want you to join my army, and that's what we cut.
Yeah. Well, also
Fun.
supposedly he was, he died there, and then you get the spoilers at the end.
Yeah.
I did kind of love though, like the little joke of him revealing, like, yeah, my father did tell me to come along with you guys to try and kill Boardman. I'm like, but why though? And Boardman's just like, I knew it. And I'm like, that's funny, but why though? Why did he send you to kill him? Like, what was the reason for that?
What was the deal? Is it something from the original, like that? Because it's like,
Maybe?
yeah,
I don't know.
like because they just kind of throw Bowman as this guy, then like he gives up that I want nothing to do with this shit vibe, and for the record, it's funny, it works because, and you can tell that he's actually knowledgeable and resourceful, which I appreciate. He's not just a comic relief, but it's also you obviously have a story. Honestly, why not make a show about him? Give me a show about him. It will be a lot more entertaining.
I think it would have been interesting to see like his, his like adventure with Mad Mardigan and them trying to get the Curious, right? That armor that they were seeking out. Like that was his thing. Like
for the
he's
record,
trying to find the armor.
if it's in the original,
It's not.
movie, then
That's not a thing in the original movie.
Okay.
As far as I'm aware, from what I've looked up and learned, that's not a thing in the original movie. That's just something they came up with afterwards to kind of give this character a place to be here, and also give like, hey, Mad Mardigan, like a main character from the original movie, isn't around, and here's why, right? Like that story, right? But like talking about the like the actors again, the guy who plays Borman Amar was fine. Like I enjoyed Tony as Prince Graydon. He was fine. Like you said, the guy Flash Thompson.
Yeah.
The actress who played Jade, yeah, I feel like she was better in the Winter Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but otherwise she was okay here. I think once they started with like the romance between her and Kit, she was better as an actress, right? Like it felt like more came out there.
You say when they started, that is so in your face since the first minute.
Yeah, but I mean, like when they stop being like, oh, like maybe not, or maybe there's more going on. Like when they stop doing that.
Let's talk about that. Fuck that maybe or maybe not cliche. Fuck it to hell. I am so sick of it.
Meh.
I am so done with it. Like, and again, there's nothing wrong with developing it. Like if they start as friends or enemies and it works out, but like they really do this in the worst way possible because, and I state again, I don't give a damn that they're lesbians. What? But because if it were like a straight couple, I would have the exact same problem. talk to each other, for God's sakes. Talk.
I'm
Talk. It's hard
I mean, they did talk.
communication.
Like, I kind of enjoyed the fact that, you know, someone else had to tell someone else, like, you need to just go talk. And they're like, I don't know how
I
to do
am
that. What do
so
I do? Like, I kind of liked that bit. Like, that bit was very enjoyable. Of, I don't know how to fucking talk to them. I don't know what to fucking say. Just say this, talk, you'll
which
be fine.
this honest and like okay, fair, but that's the thing. You point out kind of what I mean with the checklist, because the thing of like, I talk to them. Well, what do I say? Okay, that's a legit thing, right? When you're trying to get to confess feelings for someone or to build something, that's a legit thing, and a lot of people would ask for tips. I wasn't pushed. What do you mean? But anyway, the
Mhm.
point is, the point is that again, these two supposedly know each other better than anyone else because they've been best friends for like years supposedly. So I don't really buy it if these two literally know each other better than any of the people they ask tips for. And it's like, talk to them. Well, what do I say? You've been friends forever. You've been friends for years, and then there's this entire thing of like, oh, I always let you beat me because I want to protect you, or because I want you to feel good about yourself or some shit. And it's like, um, lady, let me tell you something else. That's a lie. That's a fucking lie, and I can't blame Kit for being mad about that.
Listen,
But the
right? When Jade
Mhm.
says, like, oh, you know, I kind of let you win because, you know, you're the princess and it's kind of my job. And it's like when she said that and Kit gets mad, it's like, all right, that's fair. And then later on, Jade gets mad at her for, like, why didn't you tell me about this thing that you knew? I'm not like,
Yeah,
you
there you
just did the
go.
same thing.
Yeah,
The
like
fuck?
what a freaking and like that's the thing. You know something? I don't mind that they're ending up together because they're lesbians. I mind that they end up together because these two deserve better than each other. They don't work as a couple. I'm sorry, they don't.
They might, but so far, yeah, we've
Not
not
with this
been
writing.
given enough.
Not with this writing.
I feel like, to me, the actress who plays Kit, which is Ruby Cruz, I feel like she did fine. I feel like I feel
No,
like she
no.
sold it, right? I think Jade,
Yeah.
just a little bit more. A little bit more.
Yeah, and again, I think that's also a thing when you have one actress that sells that and another actress who doesn't for any sort of reason. Here, you don't get the chemistry, and I'm sorry I couldn't get connected to them. There's supposed to be. They also have this super cliched sword fight, like in I think it's in the semi final episode
Yeah.
where they have this other it's like, hey, block your heart, and they see the opportunity, and they just spar with all those cliches, and it ends up with them. I'm like, just fuck already.
Well, we
Like,
can't do that. We're Disney, but we can kiss.
I don't fucking care. I don't fucking care. Also, how many Disney princesses have kids? They fucked, okay? Everyone knows
No,
this.
no, 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 no. We're Disney. We can't acknowledge that. That doesn't happen in Disney.
Hmm. It doesn't happen at Disney, but apparently the queen is from the
Also, you
original
can't say
film.
that word on YouTube anymore, HC. God, come on, man.
I don't know. I've seen some video game nerd from the past few months. It's okay. You can still say it.
Well, you can't say it in like the first 8 seconds or maybe 20 minutes. We don't know anymore. But luckily, we're almost 30 minutes in,
Well,
so we're fine.
luckily, we've been recording for more than that, buddy, so don't patronize me.
But I mean, still, we gotta be careful. We can't say that word anymore. But I mean,
Well, anyway,
getting back to this, right? It's just
okay, so you know what? Just poke, okay? There you go.
there we go. Fine, we're good now.
And enter your sword to El Scabbard or some shit. I don't care. Just do it already. Get together, because obviously this is what you're building up for. So cut the bullshit drama and actually, write some actual romance for once. If I can do it, people can. Yeah, okay, but regardless of that, what else is there to talk about? Okay,
Well, we should
Eric.
get to it. Like, yeah, the story. Like the entire point of the story is to go off and save Eric, right? Kit's brother,
Mhm.
because he gets kidnapped by the Gales? Question
Mhm.
mark, because like that's like, you know, not made very clear as to,
Mhm.
you know, what they are or what they're about, but apparently they work for the Crone and their whole thing is to bring about like the destruction of the world. They're never
Because
very
of
clear
course.
about this. And apparently there's like
Mhm.
some great worm that we see at the very end of the show. But yeah, like that's the whole story. Like we're off to save him. That's our adventure. And along the way, you know, Borman's trying to find like this legendary curious that eventually Kit gets to wear, and you know, because she's like the chosen one, you know, she's like worthy of it, right? Well, she's not the
Mhm.
chosen one. Alora's the chosen one. So she's
Yeah.
just
Okay.
she's the
Okay.
worthy one. Alora's the chosen one.
Okay. Hear me out. When you said that the show doesn't want to be, it doesn't know what it wants to be. Here's my thing, because from all intents and purposes, when the show starts, who do you think the main character is going to be?
I mean, I would say Kit. Yeah, I would have said
There
Kit.
you go. And suddenly, Alora is the main one. And for the record, I didn't mind Alora. I'd say if I have to pick a favorite, might as well be her. Like
Not
she's
Borman.
kind of fun.
Should have been
Hmm?
Borman.
Yeah, okay. But okay, but if you have to go for that, if so, whatever. I don't mind Alora. I think, but it's like, wait, what did Alora do? Wasn't she just like one night stand for the prince? So people accuse them of, oh, another girl that you're gonna break her heart, and then she decides no, and then he's like, no, I'm gonna marry you, and she's like, yay, and then he gets kidnapped, and she's like, I'm going to save my prince, and
And then we
Kate is
find
like,
out she's like
no.
this special chosen one, and she's magic.
No, before that, we have an entire episode of like also or even two, I think, of Kate telling her like, no, this is too dangerous. Go home. This is not a place for you. And then suddenly, oh, she's the chosen one, but it takes time to develop the magic
And then she
until,
gets kidnapped, and then we have to
and then
rescue
she
her.
gets. Yeah, and then she gets kidnapped. You have to rescue her, and then suddenly by the end, she's Harry Potter
Listen,
Voldemorting this bitch, which
I
is
mean,
actually cool. I'm
yeah,
not gonna lie.
I'll say, right, like the effects, they did great with this. Like the magic battle at the
In
very end,
general,
it looked
also,
good. And
I
some
would
of
also
like
say
the creature design too
cinematography.
looked really good, like the CGI and stuff. They did really good with
Yeah,
this. It looks great.
like effects, cinematography, even like the colors in this show are freaking beautiful. Like,
I kind of disagree on cinematography, like the fight choreography stuff. Like it felt some of that was way too dark, and they changed camera
some
angles
and
way too much, in my opinion, to be able to follow some of the fights. In my opinion, it felt like these fights aren't really well done. It wasn't bad.
some.
I've seen a lot
Let's
worse,
say,
but
at least to me, I recall more that I enjoyed rather than ones that I'm like, the hell is going on.
that's fair. That's fair. Like again, that's just a me personal thing. I felt like it could have slowed down a little bit, like they cut too much during the fights, but otherwise, like I didn't mind it too much. It was fine. It was passable for me.
Yeah, but so when we talked about the show feeling rushed a bit, so I think, yeah, Alora's development from like learning that she's the chosen one to be inside, to suddenly go toe to toe with with those creatures. It's like, maybe if you cut down on some of the bullshit drama nobody really cares about and focus on her journey, maybe I would have bought it a bit more. But like, it's not completely out of nowhere, but it's also not feel. It doesn't feel earned. It's cool, but it doesn't feel earned.
The thing that like takes me to this show, I don't know what the fuck you're supposed to be, and I don't understand your pacing at all, is episode 4, right? Like
Mhm.
we're no, it's oh, is it episode 4? Let me
Is
read
that,
up a little
I don't
bit.
know. I'm not. I don't.
It's yeah,
It's
okay,
been a
episode
while for
5.
the.
I'm sorry, episode 5 is what I'm looking for. You know, it's like the beginning of episode 5 for like it's a catchy pop tune, and it doesn't really
Yeah.
fit the fact
No.
that we're being
Okay.
chased
Okay.
by like
I
these
just want to
two
say. I don't.
horrifying looking creatures, and then all of
Listen.
a sudden like you know, we're running off into this scary wildwood, and then all of a sudden we run into like these like, you know, the bone reavers, who are like, you know, this tribal people who just want to live
Yeah.
free and out in the wilderness, and they're doing their thing, and they kind of take them all. And then we find out, oh, Jade's a bone reaver too. She's like, this is where her sister lives now, and she has a sister now, and she's like, what?
Yeah.
And then it's like, hey, we're having a party now, even after we're being chased by the evil people, and we're all laughing and having fun, and it's kind of enjoyable to watch. But it's like, but Where did we get here? How did we get here from there? We were being chased by two
Yeah.
evil monsters and they're just gone now. And then all of a sudden the party's interrupted because people are kidnapped by trolls. And it's like,
And like, is this also the episode where Kit and Jade are trying to talk to each other, and suddenly
this is kind of like where Kit, tells her, like, she kind of starts confessing her feelings somewhat. And then you have the whole scene of, like, Jade being truthful and saying, like, I really want to kiss you and I've always wanted to kiss you. And it's like, and then Kit's kidnapped and that's it, right? And it's like,
Yep.
What are
because
you?
why make sense when you can delay the inevitable and just make this entire bullshit a lot more dragged on than it's supposed to be? Yay.
It's again, like, this is the episode where it just felt so bad tonally, whiplash wise, because it just, you go from we're chased, but we're being chased, and there's this kind of catchy pop tune that we're playing in the background of the chase scene, even though we're being chased by monsters, and it's fun, even though we're supposed to be afraid.
I will say, if this was supposed to be a parody, or if it was supposed to embrace itself, the opening to that episode is amazing.
Oh,
but
it's
if
great. It's so stupid. But I don't know if that's what you're going for, though, because I don't think that's what you want.
No idea. Because let's say if this was supposed to be haha, we are self-aware, haha, we want to make this silly.
I can't tell, and I don't know if that's a good thing that I can't tell or a bad thing.
I would say bad, because that way I don't know what you're trying to say.
I think that works for it. I think if you could tell, I don't think this show would be as good as it is. I really do think, right, this show is better than what it could be given. It would normally be given credit for, because of the fact that you can never quite tell what it wants to do or what it wants to be. I genuinely feel like this show's confusion makes it better.
Okay, so I'll
this is the one time where I would say generally a bad thing might actually be a good thing. Surprisingly.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. I'll say this in terms of, if I'm looking at this through objective lens, then the show not knowing what it wants to be is
a bad thing.
Yeah, it's a completely bad thing, because if you want to be funny and self-aware, then be funny and self-aware.
Yeah.
But if you want me to take you seriously, don't put random pop songs in a fantasy show when pop didn't exist.
No,
in mythological land. But because something like obviously we talked about this. One of our favorite franchises is
episode 5, man. The fucking dance scene in episode. What the fuck was that shit? Like, we're break dancing.
Let's not open that door. I'm not touching that.
Why? What was that for? It was like. It wasn't even, it was like, here's like a full minute of them just breakdancing, and it's, why?
But, okay, but, in terms of subjectiveness, I can agree, I can at least say that, the fact that the show is so freaking confused might be a good thing.
Oh yeah, subjectively, I feel like it's a good thing, but objectively, no, 100% agree with you. If you're looking at this show completely objectively, the fact that it has no idea what it wants or what it wants to be or what it is objectively not a good thing, because it needs to have an identity, and currently it doesn't. Subjectively, though, 100%, I think its identity is, it doesn't know what its identity is, and okay, it works for you. Go off, I guess.
You know something weird as comparison, but hear me out, okay? Have you seen Puss in Boots 2, The Last Wish?
Yes, I think so. It's been a while.
The movie is not even a year old.
Oh no, that's the one. That's the most recent one, right? That's the one with the wolf. Death, quote unquote. Yeah, no, I've not seen that one. I've wanted to. I've seen. Of course,
you haven't seen it, but you know that because that's the best character.
Yeah, anyway. I know the best part about it.
Okay, but for the record, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. This is a sequel to a spin-off.
Yeah.
And a sequel to a spin-off nobody freaking asked for. So, kind of like the Willow show, because I not do this on the original movie again, haven't seen it, but I'm gonna assume I'm gonna assume, right? I'm going to assume that people didn't really beg for a sequel.
Yeah, I feel like this is one of those things of, oh, cool, this exists. I remember that
Yeah.
movie. I
So
liked it, and that's it.
and kind of like Willow, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish has a lot of plot lines in it. Okay, like you have Puss in Boots as own a personal struggle. You have his relationship with his friends. Death. You have Jack Horner. You have Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
Everything I've heard
And
about Puss in Boots though is it goes hard.
but that's the thing. It goes hard with so many plot lines and so much stuff that you could say, yeah, okay, there's probably going to be some sort of a last focus here or something, but why does Puss in Boots 2, of all films, not only manage to juggle all of those themes and all of those characters and make everything seem coherent in an hour and 40 minutes ish? And while you have Willow here, who also tries to balance so much and throw so many darts at the wall and basically and like maybe 40% actually sticks.
I feel like Willow's based on the ending, I feel like the show is banking on getting a second season to some degree, to where they can kind of flesh stuff out more and do more with certain characters. But
so far, nothing is confirmed. I know that it's not. Nobody said it's canceled, but nobody said it's renewed yet.
Yeah, it's in like that limbo. So
yeah, which I understand. Which I understand why people are trying to push for others to show Disney we want more of this, but at the same time, I hope what, if you like this show, then again, all power to you. I hope it gets renewed because I would like to see where this can go. Maybe it can get better.
I'll
But
admit,
also,
I'm curious. I kind of want to see. I want to see. Like I kind of like the we get this CGI image of this giant fucking worm, and it's like, what the fuck are you gonna do with that shit at the end of it? Can I see more of that? I'm kind of curious. Again, the effects in the show, great. I kind of want to see more. I want to see more of these characters. I want to see you do more stupid shit because holy shit, I don't think this should be as funny as it is, but it is.
But you see, kind of like they all, the whole, personality issue that this show has. We get to the same thing. We're like, yeah, we are saying, yeah, give us more dumb stuff, but what about people who might actually legit get into this? And what if the show actually wants to be taken seriously?
I don't think they can though. Based off a first season like this, I don't know if I can come to like second season. We're serious now. We're into it now.
But you realize that you're talking about you here. You're talking about you.
Well, yeah, it's my opinion. My opinion's the only one that matters, HC. These people listening doing a show, get your own show if you want your opinion to matter.
Send all the hate mail to this guy. But anyway, but okay, on a serious note though, hear me out. The fact that we can say, okay, there's the stuff we love because it's all damn stupid. Like, yeah, we love a lot of stuff that's stupid. Like, I was about to bring this up. Like, look at the movie, when it comes to like nostalgia stuff. Look at fucking Space Jam. This is not a good movie, but I love it because it's fun. Dumb, and the movie knows it's dumb. I know that there are plenty people who like defended that the Space Jam is like all about the game, and it's like, no, it's not. No, it's fucking not. It's about selling you Nikes, but it's just so self-aware. It's amazing. So okay, but regardless. So if people actually get into this show and they love it, then again, more power to you. I'm sorry that I can't see what you see, but you do you. You enjoy what you like.
I do think there are glimpses of that here, right? I do think there are glimpses of that, like.
And you see, that's what I'm about to get. That's what I'm trying to get through. There are things that are legit woke about this show. There are things that, like, when I say I like Laura and I want to see her continue to develop, I legit mean that. When I say I want to see how Eric is gonna, vibe with the rest of the team, I legit want to see that. When I say I want to see what's going on with that cliffhanger, I legit mean that. And more Bowman, yes, please.
Oh,
but
definitely more Borman. You can't do
But
this show without Boorman. If you kill Boorman, I quit.
yeah, but then you also, but then when I stop and
I'm
think
out.
about it, yeah, but when I stop to think about it, then there's this entire more action scenes with pop and metal songs which just don't fit. Like, if I want to watch a music video, I will go to YouTube. I don't need
I
a
just
show to give it to me.
I
And all that, hear me
oh
out,
no, go
please.
ahead, go
Hear me
ahead,
out.
go
I
ahead.
just want to say, no, if if you're going to balance so many plot lines and not do any justice, so to write relationships like they are freaking robots, and and just the love squirrel between Eric, Laura, and Flash
Graydon.
Thompson, whatever,
Flash Thompson.
and
He's Flash Thompson.
yeah, I don't remember the character's name. And that weird ass chick that Eric meets in that kingdom.
You mean the
Like, there's
crone
this,
who died?
yeah, the crown. Like, what was the point of it? Because throughout the entire journey, they hint that, like, Flash Thompson starts to have a crush on the Laura, and they actually tells her, "I love you. I know you love Eric, but I just wanted to know." Then what was the fucking point? Then what was?
Yeah. I mean, I
From
feel
a
like
writing perspective, what is the point unless you are
what's
trying
the
to make
point of
fun of something?
what's the point of Eric falling in love with the crone as well, right?
That's
Like I
another
feel
thing.
like
What's the
I
that?
feel like the
Like,
point there is just so like, hey, Alora's not going to get with Eric. We already know that. We already know Alora's kind of falling out of love with Eric as she travels with Graydon and the rest of the group. But we really want to make sure we give the audience a reason why she falls out of love with Eric. Like, we don't need a reason. If you don't want her to be with anybody, that's fine. She doesn't have to be with
yeah,
Eric.
just don't write it. Just don't write it. That's what I mean. That's what I mean with I don't know, because I feel like they wrote this just to be a parody of itself, but it's not a parody. Maybe. I don't know. And that's what I mean with I hope you understand that if you legit get into this show and, if someone working on this show happens to be listening to this, listen. There are things that are legit good about it, but if you want me to focus on them and give a shit, try and get rid of all the stuff that's basically there to fill a quota, or because now you just act like you're a parody of yourself. And if you can't tell me what you're supposed to be, I don't know how to view you, and I don't know how to treat you. And that's bad. That's just bad writing.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Like, a thought occurred to me, right? Like, while I was sitting there, like, just imagine Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones now, especially the good seasons, not the bad seasons. Those don't exist. Game of Thrones ended around season 4, season 5, somewhere in there. I don't know. But anyways, imagine the good seasons of Game of Thrones, right? And just, hey, here's Arya running away from her pursuers. Here's a catchy pop tune while she's running away. Just imagine that. Imagine that.
Imagine it in Witcher. In Witcher, maybe. Okay,
oh god,
listen.
The Witcher, and here's like, hey, just a pop tune playing over when
No.
when
I'll give you back.
Ciri is training, right?
Yeah, Wolf, I'll do you better. The first scene that's in the Witcher show, which is like the main guy. I forgot his name at the moment. Geralt. That you see him like fight this monster and kill it. Imagine if you saw that, but you had like a hardcore cover of the Superman team.
I mean, actually, I would kind of like that.
That's the thing, but that's the thing. You won't like it because it's like,
I love it thinking about it. It's stupid, but it would be terrible in the show because it would just not fit at all. But
that's what I mean. That's Willow sometimes.
Oh yes, absolutely. That is Willow 100%.
So again, how am I going to take your show seriously when I see them fighting these demons and I hear this song I just heard on the radio 5 minutes ago?
My personal opinion, I do kind of love Willow for that. Objectively, though, I hate Willow for that same reason. And I don't know what to think about you.
And that's the thing. I would love it subjectively too if it went all the way with it, but it doesn't, because it has those moments where it wants to be taken seriously. It has those moments which could also walk seriously, but then you have this. It's like, it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. Puss in Boots 2 did this better than you.
Will say,
what is wrong?
Good or bad, right? Good or bad. I think it has to be said, Willow is probably going to stick with me. Not so much the names, not so much the characters, but just some of the weird and zany shit. It's going to stick with
Oh,
me.
it's definitely going to be something. It's like, have you seen Willow? And it's like, buddy, have I seen it?
Yeah, it's yeah. I've watched that show. I remember the part where they were getting chased with a pop song and then going to a party after getting chased by monsters and then just living it up, and the monsters just disappeared for
Yeah,
whatever
but like,
reason.
yeah,
I
but like
remember that.
yeah. I remember how they sucked all of the soul from Warwick Davis, and he's basically just here for a paycheck. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I remember that. I
Yeah,
remember.
I saw Flash Thompson from the MCU being a hiccup. Yeah, I've seen that.
I saw him get blasted and turn into dust.
Oh no! Better yet. I saw how they split Merida from Brave into two people and made them each other's blend romantic love interest. Yes, I've seen that.
Clap. We've won it today here, folks. We're done. That's it. Not getting better than that one right there.
Because tell me that's not what it is. It's like,
I can't deny that.
Kid is like,
Listen,
she's the tough warrior princess who needs no man. Okay, good. That's Merida. And the other one is a red-headed Kelly.
maybe
That's Merida. You just split Merida from Brave into two characters. Why do this to my favorite Disney princess, you fucking monsters?
I've always been told, right, that lesbians are just disaster people, right? Maybe that's the why this show is the way it is. It's a disaster, and they're just appealing to that part. I don't know.
Listen. Considering I know, I have friends
Same.
I like not, and some of them are bi, right? And there's like I'm not sure if that's the term, but I had something like like a disaster bi or something like that.
Fuck me, that reminds me. Go ahead, I'll wait.
But listen, if this is the point, then you suck at getting the point, because you can write disaster characters well. You can write disaster characters likable.
I mean, I'm not
This
talking
is
about
not
character. I'm talking about the whole damn show is a disaster.
Yeah, okay, but if you're going to bring this part up, then I'm just gonna say, I don't care if a character is bi or lesbian or gay or non-binary, whatever. A character is a character. And when it comes to the point of it, I've seen characters like Kit a bunch of times, and there's nothing really special about her to make me necessarily care for her. I already said that Jade is a plank of wood. And the thing is that when it comes to their own relationships, they kind of broke the one thing that, can break any relationship, platonic or otherwise. They lied and kept secrets from each other, which I understand happens, but they don't communicate. And for two girls who started out as best friends, that just shows you're not right for each other. I am so sorry to say that they are not right for each other. They suck for each other. Maybe the show would acknowledge it or some shit, but I don't get it.
You know what I've always wanted? I
What?
desperately want, right? I desperately want to see some show or something that is like not necessarily romance focused, but if it is romance focused, that's fine. But I want to see something that does a relationship where these two people get into a relationship, and I want it to. I so badly I want it to show people that, hey, this didn't work. The relationship failed. And we're going to tell you the story of, and here's like why, and here's the story of why these two characters failed in this relationship. And they go on to find other people. And I want a show to do that and show that that's okay. Because constantly we see shows that like, hey, here's a romance and here's all of the flaws of a romance, but it still works for them and they're still together and they're still good together. And it's like, but are they though? Because all the flaws you showed feel like these two characters maybe aren't good for one another.
I'll say this, again, talking about Disney and, LGBTQ.
I would never get that from Disney. It's Disney.
But listen, you have Lumity from the Owl House, Luz and Amity. Like they're not perfect, they have
But
some of those problems. Wait, hear me out. They have some of those problems. Sometimes they don't communicate well, and they are also, the enemies to lovers trope, which is also a cliche in itself sometimes.
people
But
love that right now, though.
yeah, but regardless, but what makes them woke is that if they have problems with each other, they actually talk it out. If they need to figure something out, they figure it out together. They are actually talking and communicating like freaking human beings. Why is it so hard to understand?
No, I mean,
Why? There's another show that's doing this perfectly for you. Do
I
that.
I don't disagree with you. I think that's fine. What I'm saying though is I want to see the relationship where I want to see the show that shows the relationship where, they didn't do these things and it didn't work, but they still liked one another, right? They still wanted to be
Yeah.
together, but it just didn't work out and they couldn't because they just weren't
But
good for one
apparently
another. I
there's
want to see
only
that story. No one's done that
honest.
story. Give
But
me
yeah,
that story.
apparently it's either best friends turned lovers or enemies turned lovers, and either it's you're gonna do it perfectly like Lumity, or you're gonna make it convoluted like like
Like
Willow,
many
or
things.
or do
Here's
it
the
somewhere
list.
in the or do it very questionably like Shira. So yeah, there's that.
I but I can't sit here and lie. I still enjoy like the two characters here in Willow, Kit and Jade. Like they're not great, but I think I should say I enjoy it mostly, I feel, because of the actress who plays Kit's performance. I feel like she sells it mostly. I
She
think
sells
Jade's
it a lot.
fine. She's not like horrible. She's fine. I think she did great in the moments I think she did good in the moments she needed to, but we need to see more from her, right?
Oh, I don't know. Like again, for the record, Jade bores me, but like Kit is not terrible. It's just that I've seen this type of character before, and
That's
she's
fair.
not really like.
I
It's like,
don't
oh, I
watch a
know this
lot of
character.
romance stuff, nor do I care, so I think that's why it doesn't bother me as much, right?
Probably, but I guess. I, I,
Which, although, so
I think it's
I
just that
remember
again,
you
you kind of need to
mentioned
put it up because you need to mark off a thing.
fair.
So
You
that's
mentioned, you know, having friends that are bi, right? Like, then that
Mhm.
reminded me. I love where we're in the final episode and like, you see Jade and Graydon fall from that waterfall, right? And they come up and you see Borman come up after them and he's like, well, what's your plan? It's like, well, you don't really have a plan. We're just gonna go in. He's like, well, that's a stupid plan. Here's my plan. You could all just kiss me. And I'm like, okay, that's a joke, I guess. And everybody
I think by this point,
I
because it
laughed my
happened.
ass off, but it's like I don't understand this.
Yeah, like listen, when this happened, I think I was just because this is like at the start, either the
That's like
end of the semifinal
that's
episode of this.
that's episode 8, and that's like
Yeah,
close to the start, maybe a
so
little bit in the like
but
early
listen,
beginning.
because it was already the near the end, I was so done. I think like this joke just kind of went
I'll
past me.
I'll admit with you, right, when they started doing like the kind of fake wedding scene between Alora and Eric, I'm like, just let me
Yeah, like again.
fast forward a little bit. Okay, it looks like this part's important. I'll go back a little bit. All right, yeah, I'm good now. I can ignore all the other
Um,
stuff. I just
and
don't
it's
care
and
enough
it
anymore.
sucks that you have to say that you did that because it means you're not invested. It means the show lost you.
Well, I mean, the issue was, it's like I know that part doesn't matter because you've already been pretty clear up to this point that she's not really in love with him anymore. She probably never was, and that's fine. But it's like I just don't do this. Then I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also right, like you knew, right, like, oh, Alora's made her choice. And it's like we both know you're gonna do the thing of, oh, I mean, I can choose whatever I want. It doesn't matter if it's like, oh, you're gonna kiss him. You have to kiss him. You've already made the choice to kiss him. Like, no, I haven't. Like, we know you're gonna do that. We know you're gonna like, do the I'm a powerful woman who don't need no man scene. Like, we can tell it's coming almost. And it's like
Yeah.
I'm okay with it, but I don't care.
Yeah, it's like, again, do you do this because it's a thing that people need to do in these shows now, or are you doing this because you actually feel it's the right thing to do for the story?
Listen, episode I got my pretty flashing lights that fought one another with electric that looked way cooler than it did in Harry Potter, so it's like I'm appeased. 10 out of 10 show.
Sure, whatever you say.
Like I think ignoring the song choices, some of the characters are okay, and I think the greatest thing about this show is it's mostly its cinematography. I agree with you, and like some of its shot composition and like its CGI effects and stuff like that. They did great. Someone working on the CGI department is like, I got this shit. I'm here for this. And it's like, you know what? Yeah, man, you did this. Whoever you were, the team there, you were on it. Like that scene of them standing over the water and you have like that starry sky over them. That was great. That scene of like, she's practicing with Willow and it's, you see the sun setting and it looks like kind of purplish all around, right? Because of the water and shit. And you also like see her hair is red. And like that scene's great. I love the, all the composition there. It looked beautiful, but that's like the thing. By the fucking way, why did her hair turn red? I don't understand. Why did her hair turn red? Like, why did she become a redhead? She started off as like a light blonde, and it's like slowly her hair turned red, and no one mentioned it. Why? Why did no one mention it? That bothers me so much.
I know. I don't know anymore.
I assume it's a magic thing, but is someone not gonna mention it? Like, if it's a thing in the movie, it's like, oh, she was born a redhead and she turned that way, so now her hair has become this way because she's getting more in touch with her, her actual self, not this fake self that was created for her. But no one's gonna mention it at least. Give me something, please. It's just, I don't know. I guess we're done with this. This is a show. It exists.
This is indeed a show.
It's one of those rare things where, generally you have those things where you hate that you love it, or you love that you hate. I love that I hate this show, right? This is one of those weird ones. I hate that I love it, but I also love that I hate it.
Fair enough. Well, I guess with that said, anything else to
confusing reviews here at the Outcast. That's what we do.
Yeah. I love to hate this show. Put it on the DVD release.
I love to hate the show, and I hate that I love it. There's your box quote.
I'm bad and that's good. I'll never be good and that's not bad.
There's your box quote. Have at it.
Mm-hmm. Well, anything else from you? Or...
Yeah, like I'm interested in a season 2. I cannot deny that I am. Like, I very much
let's
am.
say if there will be one, I'll definitely watch it because we'll need to cover it now. We made a commitment, but
even ignoring that, I would kind of be. I'm a little bit interested to see where it goes. I don't know, mostly because it's a thing, and I have to know if they find an identity or if they stick with this, whatever this is.
Whatever this is, exactly.
It's the this that I want to see more of, and it's the this that I want to know if it stops being this or if it continues being this. And I want to know if I would like or hate it if it stopped or continued.
One way to find out, and that's wait on a season 2. But
I also hope it never gets a season 2, though.
Well, we'll see. Well, on that note, that's it for this episode of the Outcast. We hope you enjoyed it. What are your thoughts on Willow? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Are you mad about it? What do you want for season 2? You can tell us all about it in the comment section below. Are you confused about it? Most likely. Anything that you feel regarding it, you can tell us all about it in the comment section below, on our Twitter, which is Berkcast with a capital B, capital C, and on our Tumblr, which is Berkcast Team. So until next time, I was HC.
I was Wolf.
And we will see you all next time. Take Ciao.
Bye bye.